Hey guys, it's Harleywood. Today we're going to take a look at another knife sharpening set. I've done a few on the channel. I'm about to also review a Tormek T8, but today we're going to look at the Hapstone knife sharpener. When I did the review of the Wicked Edge, a lot of people had issue with the price. The Wicked Edge at the time of the review for the Deluxe Gen 3 was $700. I think it's since gone up in price to $850, and a lot of people had a hard time with that price, and I get it. That's a lot of money to spend. This one is significantly less. This is the Pro set, and it's $199. Now, that's before you start purchasing stones and accessories and things like that. However, the nice thing about this is that it does work with a lot of stones that are already on the market. So, for example, if you have an Apex Edge system, this will work with those stones. Even if you have Japanese water stones that are just kind of free stones, a lot of those will work with this system. So it's really a great deal, especially if you're kind of already into the sharpening frame of mind, and you already have some accessories or stones that you want to use. You might be able to use some of those with this and save some money. So this is $199. When you start adding on stones, it can go up, 100, 200, depends on what stone set you get. The stone set that you see in front of you here is a silica carbide, and the grit range is from 120 to 1,000. There's also a boride set that goes from 150 grit to 1,200. However, that's on the FEPA scale, so if you translate that to like a Japanese water stone, that's 1,000 here would be about a 3,000 grit stone on a Japanese stone, and the boride one at 1,200 would be about 4,000 grit. So I'm going to take this out and set it up, and I'll kind of fast forward the video during that process just so you can see how it's packaged and how it sets up. However, this is also very nice because of the amount of angles that it lets you do. Another limitation of the Wicked Edge that some people pointed out was that it could only do from like 10 degrees to 35 or something like that. This one goes from 0 to 35, and it actually has presets at 15, 18, 20, 25, and 30. However, you can put it in between, and it even has an adapter, which I'll show you, to allow you to put a digital angle guide on it. So a lot of thought went into this. Without further ado, let's go ahead and unbox this, and I'll fast forward you through the video so you don't have to see every exact step, but you'll get to see in general how this gets set up. Alright, so there we go, all set up. You can see I already have the digital angle gauge on there. Now, one thing to note is this table is at about a 22-degree slant. So your reading here is not going to be, you don't set this at 18 in order to get an 18-degree angle on your blade. You have to compensate for the 22 that this is holding. So this knife, we're going to be sharpening my Benchmade Saddle Mountain Skinner, has a 20-degree angle on, grind on it. And the setup here has a really nice magnet to hold the blade in place. You bring the stopper up, tighten it down, and now your knife is secure up against that flat edge. So since I know that this has a 20-degree angle on it, and this table is at 22, I'm going to set my digital angle gauge to -2 degrees. Alright, now that we have our angle, we're going to go ahead and set this aside. And let's talk about the stones. As I mentioned earlier, a multitude of stones will fit with this system. You see this spring mechanism here. If I pull up on this, I can put the stone inside of there, and it wedges in between the front piece and the back piece here. Again, apex edge stones will work with this, even normal flat Japanese stones. As long as they're not too long to fit, you know, within this bracket here, it will hold them tight. Alright, if you've seen some of my other knife sharpening videos, you've seen me do this trick. Take a Sharpie and just cover the grind portion of your blade. And then, when you're running the stone, you'll be able to see it removing that Sharpie, and you'll know that you have the right angle. And if it's removing too much down off the shoulder, you'll know that you have to adjust your angle a little more. And this seems to be just right. I don't know if that's showing up on camera there. But you can see I had a little bit of overlap. It took almost all of that Sharpie off. Looks like there might still be a little bit right there, but that's what we're going to go with. If you are familiar with an apex edge system, this is extremely familiar. This will feel very natural to you. Now, one of the biggest things that I liked about the WorkSharp is that it allowed you to really feel what you were doing, not remove too much metal, stay at consistent angles, and I kind of blasted the WorkSharp in some of my previous videos. Now I will say the very first Wicked Edge video that I did, it was a booth review, and WorkSharp fanboys just jumped all over it in the comments that, you know, whatever. So in the second video, when I actually field tested the unit for myself, the Wicked Edge, I, you know, kind of went back after them and how you can't control how much metal you take off, and, you know, you go through belts like freaking underwear, and anyway, there was a lot of heated comments. I'll post some links in the description below. You can go check those videos out. But then they also complained about the price. And like I said in the beginning of this, I get it. I get that $750, which now, or $700, which now appears to be $850, is a lot to spend on a knife sharpening system. Well, this is the best of both worlds. This is $199. When you buy stones, you could probably get up to about the $270 range. And it still gives you the benefit of controlled movement and not taking too much metal off of your blades. And I gotta say, guys, I am pretty impressed with this. It does have a rare earth, I can never say it, neodymium magnet, whatever they call those. So it holds the blade very securely here. So you'll probably notice there's a couple other little pieces to this that I haven't described yet. So obviously right here is where you control, if you let this off, you can slide up and down and it adjusts your angle. This is a lock that you can put up underneath and lock it in place. These pieces here are to limit your range of motion. Now obviously when you're using this, you don't want your hand to be able to go so far back as to bring it too close to the blade. So if I were to set one of these guides back, I can limit my range of motion and prevent my hand from going that close to the blade. So you'll see it stops there. And same thing on the back side. There's another one here to prevent you from coming too far forward and leaving off this edge of the stone. So we'll stop it right about there. And now we're locked in place. The magnet has a nice rubber overlay to prevent you from scratching the knife, so you don't have to worry about laying it down and then kind of maneuvering it. And with this system, you can do this with the Wicked Edge also. I know there are differing schools of thought on whether you should go away from the material or towards the material. On this one, you can do both. Now, they do make strops for this. They make glass stones. They make, micron level stones. There's a whole host of different mediums that you can use to get your knives as razor sharp as you like to have them. Again, I'm going to post links in the description below. You can spend as little money or as much money as you want with a system like this. It's completely customizable based on how you intend to use it and just how crazy you want to get with your knives. So these stones are thicker than the Wicked Edge stones, and I have it on good authority that the Wicked Edge stones can do about 10,000 swipes per stone before you would need to replace them. And like I said, these are even thicker, so I imagine you're going to get at least, if not more, than the 10,000 swipes. That's a lot of knives. So that's it, guys. Pretty simple system, actually. Very, very easy to use, very intuitive. I feel like it is safe. One of the things about the Wicked Edge, when you're doing this motion, I always had that in the back of my mind. It only takes one little mistake. This seems like it has a little bit more safety in mind, especially with these stops at the front and the back, to really limit that range of motion. And it's well thought out. I mean, the ability to stick this with a magnet. The magnet is removable if you wanted to do a more traditional where you would just hold it and run your stones over it. However, I do know that that magnet sticks in there so hard that it is kind of takes a minute to get it out. But the ability to adjust this, let's say you wanted your knife sitting at specific angles because you had a really pronounced belly or something like that, you can adjust this to hold certain angles. Very well thought out. Very impressed. The deluxe set, to give you a price comparison, this model right here without stones is $199. If you buy a set of basic stones, I think it takes it up to $270 or something like that. The deluxe set with a full set of the boride stones is going to run you $400. So again, you're still half the price of the Wicked Edge, and these are going to last you much, much longer than the belts on something like a WorkSharp. You're going to burn through a lot of belts on that thing. You'll probably never burn all of these stones up. Again, you can probably get 10,000 if not more, because that's what the Wicked Edge advertises, and these are even thicker. So what do you think, guys? Did we hit the mark here? Is this kind of the best of both worlds, where it's not $700-800 like the Wicked Edge, but it still maintains the consistency and the ability to control the amount of material that you remove without being something like the WorkSharp that just has these belts that whiz off the tip of your blade and all that stuff? Give me some feedback in the comments below. Let me know what you think. I'm going to post a link in the description to where you can go buy this. If you like what you saw, hit subscribe below. I have several more products to show you, including the Tormek sharpening system. It should deliver sometime next week. So be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.